Hey guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side Girl, and today we're doing my top 5 freezer books. I want to apologize for the lack of festive content lately. This month just kind of got away from me, so this will be my last festive Halloween style video, and I did bring back the wig from last year. So if you guys aren't familiar, freezer books are a term that I collected from watching the show Friends, and basically Joey was reading The Shining and he said it was so scary that he had to put it in the freezer to take a break from it. So these are all of the scariest books that I've ever read. Keep in mind that I do not set out to read super scary, creepy books. I don't like gore. I don't like Stephen King. I avoid actual horror films and things like that, but I do like some creepy atmospheric reads, and I have been pushing the boundaries just a little bit to kind of test the waters because I tend to like gothic Victorian horror and things like that. Horror as a book genre is different than what I expected. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's terrifying the whole time or super gory. It just means that it's got some darker elements to it. So these are the top 5 books that scared me the most. I'm a big baby, so they're really not that scary in the grand scheme of things. Some of these books probably wouldn't scare me now because I've read slightly scarier things, but these are the ones that I feel scared me the most. So we're gonna start at the bottom at number 5. And just so you guys know, I'll link last year's video up here in the cards. Click on that little eye and watch last year's video and see how the list has changed. Coming in at number 5 is Monster Speedy by Elizabeth Fama. This guy was on last year's list a little bit higher up. This is actually a very loose Little Mermaid retelling, so it's told in 2 different generations. We have a modern day character, and then we're also going into the past and learning about a character I think from the 1800s, and they are somehow interconnected. There are some spooky, creepy things in here that I was not expecting. I hadn't read a scary mermaid book before, and so it wasn't just the mermaids themselves, but just the overall story. There's kind of witchy elements to it, and it was definitely way more scary than I was expecting, and it's perfect for fall. In general, probably not a scary read. I just wasn't expecting it, but I put on this list because it was one of the first books that kind of creeped me out. Coming in at number 4, and this is a recent read that I actually haven't talked about yet on my channel, but this is The Dead House by Dawn Katurgic. Sorry, this is ex-library, so it's kind of shiny. I am getting ready to talk about this in my October wrap-up. I did this as a buddy read with my friend Amy over on Instagram. She definitely reads a lot of dark gothic horror, scary, all kinds of really dark, intense stuff. This was not for me. This is one of the scariest books that I have read, and disturbing and dark. It was really more just overly disturbing and intense than it was scary. I only found myself being kind of scared a few times, but I was really bothered by it. I'll go more into that in my wrap up, which when it's available I'll link it up there in the cards as well. But the cool thing about this one is it's told in different formats, kind of similar to Illuminae. You're getting files and transcripts and diary entries, and you're going into the past 20 years into the past to uncover what happened when a fire took down a high school, and there was this girl that was kind of disturbed named Caitlin, and she had things to do with an insane asylum. And this book was absolutely perfectly well done if you like dark, disturbing, somewhat contemporary reads. That's not personally my thing, but I did give this one 4 stars because it was just so well done, and I did read it in 2 days because of the format, and I did like that a lot. But definitely incredibly dark and disturbing, I think even for YA, but if you like that kind of thing, then you might like this one. Coming in at number 3 and still on the list is The Madman's Daughter by Megan Shepherd. One of my all-time favorite books. I'm actually rereading this right now. It's a gothic horror retelling about the daughter of Dr. Moreau from Isle of Dr. Moreau. It was kind of like a mad scientist man that made creatures from different animal parts, and then I don't really know the original origin story, but this is about his daughter and her journey to kind of figure out if he's still alive and what really happened with all the drama surrounding his life. And it's scary. It's such a good audiobook. This one's narrated by Lucy Rayner. I love this series. It's a 3-book trilogy, and they all follow different retellings. So the next one's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and the last one's Frankenstein. I think it's in that order. I liked this one by far the best. It has a few twists in here that I wasn't expecting. It wasn't scary. It was just that creepy feeling when you're discovering things, because it was very mysterious, and I was just oh my god. And the twists in here are so awesome. There's a love story in here, and there's just, oh, it's just so good. I think this is one of the most underrated books on BookTube, and definitely not like horrifying, terrifying, but definitely like super creepy, and it kind of just keeps you on your toes. And the last two books I actually don't own, so I'll just put the pictures up here for you guys. So coming in at number 2 is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. I read this one for Spookathon last year, and it almost made the scariest book I've ever read. So this one again is about mermaids, but it's about like killer, murderous mermaid creatures, not necessarily like humans that turn into mermaids. This is actually a novel that was made after a short novella story that she wrote, and I do recommend reading this one first, even though the novella came before. So this is about a company named Imagine Co, I believe, and they create mockumentaries around different myths and lore like the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot, and make them seem really realistic and put them on something like kind of like the Discovery Channel. And everyone knows that they're fake. They go out to the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest part of the ocean, to film one about mermaids. Their entire crew doesn't come back, and they get some very disturbing footage. So the book actually starts there, and we're getting another crew together of scientists and mermaid lore historians and hunters and journalists, and all kinds of crazy people are going out to find out what happened and see if maybe mermaids are actually real. But this is very scientific. It's an adult book, and it's got very thoroughly done research. It actually makes you think that if mermaids were real, they would be like Mira Grant's mermaids. They'd be like scary, intense creatures, and it's so scary. It kind of gave me the vibes of the movie The Abyss, which is a really old movie that I watched a long time ago with my family, and they kind of go down into the ocean, they kind of look for aliens. So this is just very suspenseful. It is kind of slow and suspenseful at the same time because the characters are very thoroughly well-rounded, and you're getting a lot of information about a lot of different characters. There's a lot of good representation in here, and it's one of my all-time favorite books ever. I love it so much, even though the mermaids were totally different than what I expected, and Mira Grant's just a genius in my eyes. The ending is slightly lackluster, but I think that it's going to be a series, so I kind of gave it a break as far as that goes. But I love this one, and I definitely it gave me the creeps. I actually wound up having to go on a boat ride in the middle of reading this, like at night, so if you guys want to watch that, I have a Spookathon vlog. I'll also link up here in the cards, and you can watch me just being scared of this book for the first 4 days. So there you go. And the number 1 top freezer book that I have on this list is The Diviners by Libba Bray. Everybody is talking about this book right now. It seems like everybody is either reading it for the first time or rereading it to prepare for the final book in the series that comes out next year. This book is set in the 1920s, and it's about our lead character Evie. She's kind of got into some trouble in her small town, and so her family sends her to live with her uncle. And it's like a historical, supernatural, like witchy museum type thing. So Evie goes there and kind of discovers all these like weird things that are happening. I listened to this one on audio, and I think that was why it kind of trumped the other books for me. Like, they tend to be scarier on audiobook. There's like a ghost in here, and he sings a little creepy song, and I still have it in my head. I was literally like putting my makeup on in the bathroom, and Jeff kind of like snuck up on me because I had my headphones in, and I like threw my makeup blush brushes in the air because Jeff scared me so bad. I am not a ghost story person. Like, they creep me out the most, so kind of just keep that in mind. I can handle like vampires and killer mermaids and like all kinds of things, but like creepy ghost stories are not my thing. Maybe I think it's like the most realistic that you can get for like a scary thing. I don't know. I didn't love this book, again, because it was just a little bit too dark and creepy for me, but it was so well written. I know that like everyone else absolutely loves this book, and the only reason I didn't is just because that really creepy factor kind of got to me and it kind of like gave me anxiety. Not necessarily in a good way, so I don't know that I'll continue on with the series, but this is definitely one that I still think about because it was pretty creepy and dark, and I know people that like creepy and dark books and still thought this was pretty creepy, especially because I think it's YA as well, so pretty dark and creepy, and the audiobook is especially scary. So let me know if you guys love these types of reads, or if you're kind of just dipping your toes into things. Did I scare you off some of them? Did I make you want to read some of them? Let me know down below in the comments because I would love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, I will see you guys on the bright side. Bye! Or maybe I should say the dark side.